Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Okay, friends. So, in these few videos, a series of videos, we shall see why networks are formed, some of the theoretical perspectives as to why people form network, why social networks are actually formed. So, uh, the first important force that is being pitched in terms of why people come close to each other, why people make friends, is the homophily. What's this? This is the tendency of individuals to form relationship with same like-minded people, like habitual people, similar people, right? In one way or another. The similarity may be in beliefs, maybe in interests. It may be sometimes even in physical appearance. So there are researchers which says that fat people are make circles with fat people, and aged people make circles with aged people, and etc etc. So homophily actually explains many of the social networks. And going further, some of the key points is that we usually say used to say that birds of a feather flock together. And why people do so? Because it actually reinforces their self-worth. It confirms their association. So there is always a need of association, group association, a human need, as Maslow earlier suggested. So that need is actually satisfied when you are among the people who are like you. So even if you go to some other country, for example, where you're a stranger, you usually look for people who have some sort of earlier connectivity with you, whether they are your um, with the same religion, or with the same nationality, or maybe with the same gender, or whatever it is. So why we used to do so? Psychologically, it reinforces our own self-worth. It's not necessary to be an actual similarity. It can just be a perceived similarity, right? So if I see you as similar to me in some context, then I will tend to make friendship with you, a social connection with you. Now the most important point is that it can be on the multiple dimensions. And when we consider more than one dimensions, it becomes a relatively complex a complex for example phenomena. So if we just assume two dimensions, then we can plot it on, say, a graph, x-axis and y-axis, and we can say that, okay, 2 points, when they are close in the two dimensions, it means they are close on the plane. So for example, one point is 4 5, x4 and y5, for example. The other point is 3 6. So they are somehow, you will see, they are close, whereas a 4 5 is far away from 10 17, for example. So there is a more tendency to make 4 5 and 3 6 friends than 4 5 and 10 17. But when there are more than one two dimensions, when there are five dimensions, six dimensions, for example, one dimension is gender, another dimension is age, another dimension can be the physical appearance, another dimension could be your hobbies, another dimension could be your education. So that concept, although it is difficult to visualize, but it becomes the social scientists have named it a Blois space, right? So in the Blois space, for me, for example, right, I have a Blois space in which all the dimensions which I value, the people who are close in all these dimensions, they are in Blois space near to me. So for example, I value gender, and I value health, and I value education, and I value religious association, for example. So all the people who are, so one, for example, Mr. A, who is close to me in all these dimensions, right? He is more near to me in my Blois space, right? And compared to a person B, who is near to me in three dimensions: age, religiosity, for example, religious association, and education, but not in physical appearance, for example. So he's relatively farther in my Blois space. And people who do not match any of the four dimensions, they are outside of my Blois space. So the Blois space is a theoretical space where we plot the people who are more similar in terms of dimensions. So I have a Blois space in which all the people near or farther fall who have some similarity with me, right? The people who are near to me in that Blois space, they have more similarity to me. Now keep in mind, the Blois space does not necessarily mean that the social links are there. It actually proposes that the people who are within your Blois space and who are more near in your Blois space compared to those who are not, they have more chances, more probability that you will have a social connection with them compared to those who are either not in Blois space or who are in the farther areas of Blois space. So this is the probability, not necessarily that every person who is near you in all your dimensions is actually your friend. Sometimes it happens, and we have seen that two persons who are more similar in their roles in their Blois space, for example, they are not friends, they are rather enemies, they become enemies. So there are exceptions, right? So college students forming groups based on shared majors or hobbies, for example. So one of the examples. So the homophily going forward, uh, years of experience, it can be types of certifications, it can be industry, it can be location, it can be those who are closer in Blois space. For example, two CPAs with 10 years of experience are more likely to network, right? So it is important that we are saying they are more likely, not necessarily they are friends, right? So we already discussed these pointers. So if in the Blois space, just for the sake of understanding, of course the Blois space is not a two-dimensional array. For example, over here on the x-axis we have plotted point-wise, area-wise, the qualifications, certification. On the y-axis, the years of experience. So just say 2 or 3 dimensions have been plotted, and then industry has also been somehow plotted. So just an approximate visual representation of the Blois space. So and whenever the two dots, the two nodes, the two persons are close in their Blois space, it is more likely they will form a network. So in the next video we shall see the second important force, which is reciprocity.